Okay, well, first off, we'll need to go through design and emulation. And we need to do this because before we build a pilot network, we need to understand what hardware and network protocols are going to be used, how they're all going to be connected together, and how they're going to facilitate the use cases of the network. So given this, we should already have an understanding of what the network will be used for and what the requirements of the network are in order to satisfy our use cases. Next, we need to have a design for the pilot network. In design and emulation, we may have studied the full-scale network, but in order to go through pilot and trial, we'll need to have an idea of what the pilot network will look like, where the hardware is going to be deployed, how we're going to organize the hardware at these locations, and how we're going to connect all of these hardware components to form the network. So for example, if the pilot network is fully contained within a room or within a building, then it's easier to run optical fiber between the hardware components and connect them together. But if the pilot network spans over multiple buildings, then you need to be mindful of how the equipment in these more distant locations will be connected. So do we need to use some existing fiber that's in the ground, or will we need to deploy it ourselves? And these are things we need to be aware of when we're going through this. We'll also need to outline testing and benchmarking plans for verifying our hardware and software. So in design and emulation, we may have assumed that the devices and the logic driving the network was functioning correctly, but now we need to verify the actual behavior of these components. So for hardware, we'll need to know how we're testing the individual pieces to make sure they're up to specifications, and we'll also want to know how we're testing connected setups containing these components. By starting with the testing of these isolated hardware components, we can more quickly identify problematic components rather than trying to find them after they've already been connected. And on a similar note, we're also going to want to know how we're testing our software to make sure it's also functioning properly. Now, lastly, now that we know what we're building, how we're building it, and how we're verifying we built it correctly, we need to acquire our hardware, software, and experience for putting everything together and running the pilot network.